Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Thanks for joining. Happy Sunday evening. There we go. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Playing with new software today. How's everybody's week been? I will turn the chat on, leave a message in the chat box below. C. Fry, hello, how are you? Thanks for joining. Looks like everything seems to be working. Jay, hello from New Jersey. Hello in New Jersey. How are you today? I'm trying out my new countdown software. I think you can see the screen. You can see the map in front of you. Thanks for joining. You can see in here. That is great. So we're going to go over some of the new homes. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Jay. So it's been a big week in the villages. I heard it's been unseasonably warm. It's warm here too. It's very warm. I'm checking out the live stream on my TV. So if you see me looking right, I'm looking at the live stream to see how it looks. So let me know what you want to talk about. This live stream is really for you to ask questions. But if you don't ask any questions, I'll just go over the village's new home sales map and give you a tour of that as well. Let's see what's going on in the news in the villages. The villages news. Let's see what's going on in the villages and see what is going on. That's always an interesting. Hello, Matt Allen. How are you? I like to go over the news. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going. You're covered the construction of Costco so much. Will you be there? No, I won't be there opening day. I'm in Southeast Asia. Opening day is in 3 days, right? August 6th, 4th, 5th, Wednesday. I think they're going to open on Wednesday. I will not be there. I think I'm going to be happy that I'm not there. I think the traffic is going to be horrendous. But I wanted to go over some of the news. Ask any question if you want in the chat box below. I will put it on the screen. We will go over some villages news. Visitor to the village is surprised at easy access to amenities. That is a touchy subject. Very touchy subject. A lot of people complain about the visit and the easy access to the amenities. This Holly person came to visit the villages, and she said she was surprised at how easy people could access the amenities. I walked right. Yes, you can walk right into the pools. There are people who walk into the pools all the time that do not have a right to walk into the pools. And that is a really big source of heartburn for a lot of villagers. And every year they seem to discuss meetings at various district board meetings, and they hash this around and they talk about it for a month or two and then it goes away and nothing gets resolved. What is this? On concrete wall construction, do they frame it on the inside or do they attach drywall to the concrete? That's a good question. I don't know there, to be honest with you. But that is a good question, Matt Allen. Something tells me they don't frame it. I don't think they put like 2x4 studs on the inside, if that's what you mean. I don't think they do. But if anybody on the live stream has purchased a precast wall home, let me know. But I don't recall seeing them put either wood or steel studs on the inside of the concrete walls. I'm not sure what they put on, to be honest with you. That's a good question. I'm sure there's somebody on the live stream that purchased a precast wall home. Maybe they know. I'm not sure if they put insulation on the inside before they put the drywall on. I would be surprised if they put the drywall right on the concrete. I'm sure they, by code, I think they have to have a vapor barrier at least, which is a piece of plastic. But what they put over that plastic, maybe they put furring strips on. I think that's what most people do. Like in Wisconsin, if you remodel your basement, and this is kind of where the cement is in Wisconsin, is in the basement, you would put a vapor barrier and maybe furring strips, or some people would frame it. But that's a good question. I don't know. I've never really looked, to be honest with you. I'm not sure I was ever on the job site. Yeah, I don't know. If they put furring strips, yeah, you'd have to drill holes in the wall. That's for sure. Craig says 1x2 furring strips. Is that for sure, or is that a guess of yours? That would be my guess too, Craig, is that they would put furring strips on the wall. But I don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. So they do put furring strips on the wall. That would make sense. Yeah, I don't think the villages would put like a 2x4 frame inside. Hi, Ronald. Ronald, hello. How are you? Happy Sunday. We're just talking about a precast wall home. What do they put on the wall before they put the drywall on? And we have Craig thinking it's 1x2 furring strips. Can you detect them with a standard stud finder? I would think the answer is yes. I would think so. I would think you could detect them. I would think so. I think you could detect them. The question I have, though, is Craig says a stud finder will locate the strips. IJ, thumbs up. Craig thinks, I think so too. A stud finder will locate the strips. I think so. I do. I agree. I think you can find it with a stud finder. But doesn't the stud finder actually find the nails that are in the stud? Or does it find the stud itself? Interesting. So there you have it. Stud finders, by detecting changes in the density or electrical properties behind the wall, helping you locate the studs. Most stud finders detect the edge of the stud, while some can detect the center. They typically use electronic sensors or magnets to identify these changes, allowing you to securely. There it is, capacitance measurements, electronic measure capacitance, which is stability. to store an electrical charge. Drywall has different capacitance than wood studs. There is your answer. They will put insulation board on the cement walls and then place furring strips on. Stud finders find the stud itself. Yes, according to Google, they find the changes in density, which is interesting. You learn all kinds of new things here on this live stream, I guess. So that is a stud finder. That is interesting. So now you have me in. Now I'm going to add a scene. So you don't have to see my entire big face up close and personal. So there you have it. Yes, stud finders will find the stud itself based on the changes in density. Yes. Any other questions? This is your live stream. I'm just watching my live on the TV. Good question, though. And the beauty is I have my laptop. I can look up any answers if I don't know it. I'll just look it up. So the visitors to the villages surprises, easy access to the amenities. Yeah, the villages are very lax in controlling what goes on. The Amenity Authority Committee and the Budget-wide Project-wide have scheduled a rare joint workshop at Savannah. Amenities will discuss possibly introducing controlled access at the pools. Every year they talk about controlled access at the pools. Every year. I think every year since I've been there, 4 years now. At least once a year they talk about controlled access to the pools. And they talk about it, and then they say they want keyed entry into the pools. And then they go to the villages, and the villages says, "Oh, it costs too much to do that." And then the topic disappears for another year. That's what usually happens on this topic. I remember last year or the year before, it was the same thing. And the villages said it would cost X number of dollars to put keyless entry on all of the swimming pool doors, and then everybody panics when they hear the number. They all panic and decide, "Oh, we're not going to do that." Access, well, if you set up your appointment 6 months in advance, it's not a big deal. And occasionally I will call my primary care doctor or my specialty care doctor. If I have an emergency, they'll get me in a couple of days. You know, it's not like an emergency where my head is bleeding. It's more like, hey, my blood pressure is high. I need to come in and see you. And they'll schedule something within a couple of days. So I think it's okay. If it's an emergency, they'll send you to the emergency room. So it's hard to answer that question. But if you need to see the doctor and it's not an emergency, they usually can get you in a couple of days. They do leave slots open. But what I noticed about the medical is when you do have an appointment and you show up, in Wisconsin, it would take forever to see a doctor. In the villages, they usually get you in on time or within a reasonable amount of time. They don't make you wait for an hour. If your appointment is at 9 o'clock, they're not making you wait till 10 o'clock to see the doctor. Usually they'll get you in at by 9 or 9:15 or 9:10. That was one of the things I noticed when I moved to the villages. and it was a positive thing. And if you need to see your doctor and it's a non-emergency, if you need to see them between appointments, they'll get you in a day or two. They seem to be okay. And if it's an emergency, they'll just tell you to go to the emergency room. I've never been to the emergency room in the villages, so I can't speak to that. I'm not sure. Something tells me it's not going to be fun. Depends on your doctor, medical plan. Yeah, I think it depends on your doctor, actually. Yeah, it does. It does. The medical in the villages is bifurcated. I guess that's the best word I can use. It's fragmented. And that to me is a little frustrating because I came from Madison, Wisconsin, and all the medical was integrated. It was all the University of Wisconsin, and it was all integrated. They used the same EMS computer systems. They readily shared data. Uh, Everything was shared. Everything was cohesive. In the villages, everything is fragmented, where my urologist is part of a different medical facility than my primary care doctor. My primary care doctor is in the villages. My urologist is part of a private practice called Advanced Urology, and they don't seem to share the same medical system. So a lot of times I'm taking a paper copy of a lab order to draw blood. They'll actually give me a paper copy. I haven't seen a paper copy of a lab order in 25 years. In the villages, they'll give you a paper copy of a lab order to draw blood so you can go over to Quest Diagnostics and get your blood drawn. Because I have Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance, and I can only get my blood drawn at Quest Diagnostics, which is a private lab. The villages can draw your blood in their facilities, but my insurance won't pay for it. And that's part of this fragmented medical that goes on in and around the villages, which I'm not used to. I'm used to everything being cohesive and organized. In the villages, you have so many different private practices. Your urologist is a different private practice. You can find urologists within the villages, but I think I had to find one that's outside because the villages wasn't in my insurance plan. So it's kind of strange. They have a lot of different medical. You don't have to use the villages health. Hey, who is this? Sicilian, how are you doing? Ronald, thank you. Sicilian. TRICARE Prime, and very few take it in Florida. Yes. Yeah, insurance, medical insurance in Florida is kind of wacky. I have private insurance. Florida Blue, they seem to take pretty much of what I need. I'm not on Medicare yet. I'm too young for Medicare. So I'm sure that I will be jumping through hoops when I reach the age of 65 and I go on Medicare. I think it's going to be a nightmare. I hear some of the people that are on Medicare in the villages complain it's a nightmare. It doesn't help that all the medical is fragmented. You got some providers in the village's health, some providers in private practice, and then you have the hospital. Nobody wants to use the village's hospital, or at least they didn't. So they're looking for hospitals in Ocala or Orlando or Claremont. Medical is kind of an issue when you move from an area that has halfway decent medical, like I did in Madison, Wisconsin. They had excellent medical. And you move to the villages, you get an eye-opening experience. And it's not for the better either. Don't fear Medicare. I just turned, I'm on it. You like it? Really? Well, that's good. Did you have to use it yet in the villages? Come back in a year after you've tried to use it in the villages and tell me if you still like it. Hello, Sue. I also got to quest for blower if you only place that takes my insurance. Yes, mine too. I have to go to Quest. And so far, Quest has been okay. It's just that you have to take a paper copy of your lab order over there. I can't believe I'm talking about paper copies of anything in the year 2025. But when you go to the villages, you're kind of turning the hands of time back 20 or 25 years when it comes to medical. I don't know if it's a Florida thing. I don't know if it's a villages thing. It's strange to me because I came from Wisconsin, where everything was electronic and everything, and they could communicate through their electronic medical record system easy. And I found that even within the village's health, they seem to have a hard time communicating from one doctor to another. It's pretty strange. Jay, I haven't used it in the villages. I live in New Jersey between Medicare. Well, Jay, you need to try using it in the villages. I think it's going to be a different experience for you, for you there. Between Medicare and some, I have no more copays. Yeah. Oh, next year, Tulane. Awesome. Yeah, medical and dental is probably going to be some of your biggest challenges when you move to the villages. And if I would make a video of, maybe I will make a video one day, biggest challenges for moving to the villages, medical would be up there. It'd be one of the top three of medical challenges. I just think the quality of care, at least, I think it's just Florida, to be honest. I don't think it's the villages. I think it's Florida. I think the quality of care in Florida is a lot lower than what I'm used to in Wisconsin. And it's probably going to be lower than what you're used to if you north. But you can find, occasionally, you can find a really good doctor. But they're going to be harder to find in Florida. Sue agrees with me. Healthcare is challenges. So my advice to you is when you move to the villages, be really healthy. It's going to make your life a lot easier. But overall, once you get used to the system, once you get used to carrying paper copies around, it's going to be a lot easier if you can get your blood work done at the village's health. I think it's going to be a lot smoother. I think the biggest heartburn I'm experiencing is getting your blood work done at Quest and they not sending the results to your doctor in the villages or wherever. It's just, it can be nightmarish. And I'm just not used to that. I'm used to having my blood work done and it gets electronically sent. And because I'm using Quest, which is a third-party provider, sometimes the information isn't getting sent over to the villages. Sometimes you actually have to hand carry a paper copy. And it's just, in my opinion, it's ridiculous. Tell my daughter, send it over through an email. I think I don't have a paper copy. That's kind of weird. Yes, well, it's weird. I ignore my last post. Yes, Sea Fry. Just be healthy. If you live in the villages, save yourself some problems. Exercise and get healthy. That's my advice. It's not that bad, really. Actually, my primary care physician has just retired. I recently got a notice, an email on my phone, an email. My primary care physician, who is part of the village's health, recently retired. And I think that's a good thing. That is a good thing. So I have to now find another primary care. Is anyone going to use the rock climbing wall? Speaking of healthy activities, wish they would have put a giant gym there instead. Should I not play pickleball so I don't? Yes, Pickleball, you're going to get injuries doing pickleball. I actually won't. I'm staying away from playing pickleball. It's too hard on the joints. I think there's a lot of injuries in the villages when it comes to pickleball. People take their pickleball seriously and they exercise too much. All my doctors are over an hour away and it ends up being a 2 hour. Really? My doctors are all local. I have arthritis, so I have a rheumatologist with the villages. She's awesome, actually. She's better than my rheumatologist in Wisconsin. She is really good. My primary care, who just retired, she wasn't that good, but she retired, so maybe the next one will be better. My urologist is with advanced urology. He's okay. But the big thing for me is just getting information transferred between my specialty doctors and my primary care doctor. That seems to, at times, be difficult. Is pickle elbow? Yes, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think the healthcare is okay. You just need to, for me, when I first got to the villages, it was just hard finding these places. And I think I mentioned it in one of my videos. There's so many different locations for villages health, and they're tucked away behind palm trees and these medical facilities. They look like homes, and they're all over the place. That it's just kind of hard finding where these people are. I'm used to going to like a building that looks like a medical facility that's clearly marked. That's the other thing in the villages. They don't clearly mark anything because they want these buildings to blend in with the neighborhoods. They don't clearly mark them, and it's hard to find the address, and then Google Maps will take you to the wrong spot. So just finding some of these medical facilities is difficult unless you go to like Brownwood. They have this big medical clinic. It looks like a hospital in Brownwood. That's kind of easy to find, and it kind of looks like a medical facility. But some of these doctors, they different days of the week, they will go to a different medical facility within the villages, and some of these medical facilities look like homes, and they're tucked away behind palm trees. They're not clearly marked. Like when I go to when I do X-rays, I have to go to Lake Sumter Landing. That's the other thing with the villages is you're going all over the place for different things. You know, if you're used to going to one building to get your blood work done, your X-rays done, to see your doctor, that doesn't exist in the villages. You're going to different buildings in different parts of the villages. My X-rays I get done at Lake Sumter Landing. I think that's a private company that does the X-rays. That's part of my Blue Cross insurance plan. And that X-ray place is difficult to find because it's in one of those buildings that's located, what would that be? That would be on the east side of Lake Sumter Landing. And there is a lot of these different buildings. They kind of look like homes. There's dentist offices in there. There's this X-ray place in there, not clearly marked. The address numbers are really not clearly marked either. You put it in Google Maps and it takes you to one end of this row of medical. And it took me like 10 minutes to find the facility to get an X-ray done. So if it's your first time to see your medical doctor, give yourself extra time just to find the place and get lost. How much are the gym memberships down there? If you use the villages gyms that are located at some of the rec centers, which I do, I think it's $47 per month per person. But you can buy a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month, and they reduce it a little bit, not much. I think if you buy a 1 year, it comes out to like $45 per month per person. So it's not much. So So budget somewhere $45 to $47 per month for the gym membership. If you use the Villages gym, they do have some gyms outside the Villages that are cheaper. I know there is one gym in Oxford, Florida, that some people use. In fact, some people's insurance plans will, I think, pay for all of it or most of it. But again, I don't want to drive. My deal is I want to go everywhere on my golf cart, so I pay a little bit of a premium to use the gyms within the Villages at the rec centers. Oh, hi, Sue. How are you? Oh, my God. Thank you, Sue. Jay, my first criteria for finding a good doctor is whose waiting rooms have the most comfortable chairs. Well, pretty much everywhere I've gone in the Villages is pretty comfortable, actually. I can't really think of any place within the Villages. The Villages, if you use the facility at Brownwood, it's almost new. It looks like a hospital, but it's actually, I think, a clinic. It's almost new, so that's nice. I use my primary care physician is at Lake Deaton. That's fairly new. That's pretty decent. Occasionally, I'll see my rheumatologist up at Spanish Springs. Spanish Springs not only has a hospital, but they have a whole bunch of medical clinics that the Villages uses. So you can see your specialty doctor up at Spanish Springs. Again, those are hard to find. They're not in the hospital. They are located around the perimeter of the hospital, and the facilities look like homes again. They're not clearly marked. And they were pretty comfortable too. What is this? Lakeland, we have not sold our home yet. Our home has been on the market for 1 year. And if I remember right, Sue, you're the one that lives in a HOA community, right? And I think your HOA fees are a lot higher than the Villages when you look at the maintenance fees, the amenity fees, and even include the fire fee. And those really are the three fees you should look at when you compare that to an HOA fee at another 55 plus community, and you haven't sold your home yet. Interesting. Do you still plan on moving to the Villages? The Villages is still a good deal. It's you pay more for the home. And when I was doing my research, I could have bought a larger home for the same amount of money in a different neighborhood, in a different 55 plus community. I just chose to buy a smaller home for the same money and live within the Villages for the convenience of the golf cart ride. And I'm pretty happy I did, to be honest with you. Villages is awesome. It's still really affordable, in my opinion, outside the price of the home. But your monthly fees are super affordable in the Villages. It's just that you have to make a decision. Do you want to live in a smaller home, or do you want to be a bigger home in a different 55 plus community? I'm one of these guys. I didn't want to have a mortgage on my home. I wanted to buy the home free and clear, sell my home in Wisconsin, buy the home in Florida, free and clear, no mortgage. So I bought a smaller home in the Villages because I didn't want to drive a car. I want to drive my golf cart to go to Costco, for instance. So let's go back to this article. So everybody complains at least once a year. They bring it up in the board meetings about the easy access to swimming pools. And I do have a story. I'm not sure if I shared this story with you about somebody in the swimming pool. I saw a woman in my community swimming pool. She was bathing her dog. She had a mid-size white dog. She had it in the swimming pool, and she was scrubbing it, and the hair was flying off of it. She was trying to get rid of the winter coat of hair on the dog by bringing that dog into the swimming pool. I've seen outsiders from Oxford, Florida in my swimming pool. They usually come in the evening. So if you want to see some strange things around your swimming pool, go to your swimming pool at dusk. When it starts to get dark out, there's a good chance there'll be somebody in that swimming pool, and it's probably not a village resident. Because all the locals know that they can push the red button to get through the security gates on the roads, and then they can just walk into the swimming pool. And the swimming pools that are more susceptible are the ones that are located on large roadways, like Belvedere Boulevard near where I live. There's a swimming pool right on Belvedere Boulevard, and Belvedere is a cut through for the people that live in Oxford, Florida. They cut through the villages on Belvedere, they hit Buena Vista, they go down to Lake Sumter Square. So any swimming pool along a road where the locals cut through is more susceptible of having locals using it. Yeah, I agree. It's well worth the extra money for the house. Yeah, I agree. Also excited to hear finally being heard on this subject. Well, every year the residents are being heard on the subject, and every year the board, for whatever reason, the board goes to the villages, and the villages says, "Oh, it's too expensive." And then the board kind of shrugs their shoulder and goes back to the citizens and say, "Oh, it's too expensive." And then it disappears for another year. $1,000 a month plus a weird tax. So there you have it, friends. Here's a woman paying $1,000 a month in HOA fees. And in the villages, your HOA is essentially $200 a month. Your maintenance assessment fees, let's just say your average home is $500 a year. So you're looking at, I don't know, $60 a month maybe. And your fire fee is another $20, $30. So you're looking at maybe $290 a month in the villages versus 1,000. Well, you are awesome. So there you have it. And I did my research before I moved to the villages, and I found that the villages was, I think, one of the least expensive, if not the least expensive, when it comes to the monthly fees. The villages, I think, was the least expensive. Stonecrest was close, but it was a little bit higher, the monthly fees. And I could have bought a lot bigger home in Stonecrest, and that was my choice. Villages or Stonecrest. Because if you live in Stonecrest, you're really close to the villages, and you can actually get from Stonecrest to the villages on a golf cart. It's illegal to do, but there is a way to do it. So I was thinking, oh, Stonecrest, but I think the monthly HOA fees were slightly higher at the time. This was 4 years ago. On top of the world, don't know a lot about it. That was the other area I was looking at. it. My opinion on top of the world, it's out in the middle of a horse field. It's west of Ocala, Florida. There's not a lot around it. There's not much shopping. I did go there. I did a video almost a year ago. Yeah, I think maybe 11 months ago, I did a video. The town square is small. It's not much to it. It's kind of like a sawgrass grove. That's what their town square is. So you have to go outside to do any type of shopping. I think the Walmart is maybe 10 miles away, and you have to go in your car. I just felt isolated when I was out there looking at On Top of the World. They also have some weird, hinky, some of the homes, you own the land. Some of the homes, you lease the land for 99 years. They have different rules in different neighborhoods. It felt fragmented to me. It just felt not convenient for me. Town square was too small. Walmart was too far away. I felt like I was out in the middle of a farm field, which you are. Ocala, Florida is nothing but horse fields. I just felt isolated. Didn't want to feel isolated. Nice drone yesterday of new Costco and new retail on 466. I checked it out. Do you know that Papa Pineapples is a fellow Wisconsinite? I believe he is originally from Wisconsin. He was one of the first YouTubers I watched 4 or 5 years ago. He's a good guy. I think he moved to Florida when he was, I think, 14 years old or something like that. I've never met him, but I do watch his YouTube videos once in a while. Not anymore because I'm too busy doing my own YouTube videos. But he seems like a nice guy. I see that the villages have relaxed their stance on the drone pilots, which is good. They relaxed their stance on me, which is good. So that's all good. So back to the pools and the accessibility. Everybody, that comes up once a year. They're not going to do anything about it. If they do something about it, I will be super surprised, because every year they tell residents it's going to cost like $30,000 to put access onto the swimming pools, and then all the residents get excited, and then they don't want their amenity fees to go up. Your amenity fee would be your amenity fees would eventually go up. It wouldn't be your maintenance fees. It would be your amenity fees, and nobody wants their amenity fees to go up. So the villages will throw out an exorbitant number. It's going to cost $30,000 to retrofit the pool entry, or it's more than that even. I don't know. And then everybody has a heart attack, and then the subject goes away. It's been like that every year, at least since I've been there. Good evening to everyone. Good evening to you. So I don't expect much to happen with keyless entry on the swimming pools. I think it's needed, though. I'm not sure it's going to prevent people from going into the pool, though. I think the locals, if they want, they can just jump the fence and go in. I think that's probably what they would end up doing, because most of the time the locals are in there at night. It's dark and the locals are in those pools. So a keyless entry might dissuade some people, but usually the people I see in the pool at night are younger people from local communities like Leesburg or Oxford. And those young people, they can jump the fence. It's actually fairly easy to jump the fence on the swimming pools. They're not that high. So I'm not sure that the keyless entries are going to dissuade 100% of the people. They're going to dissuade some. I think it would be nice to have a totally gated community so that people couldn't get into the community, but that's never going to happen because all the roads in the villages are public. So anyway, it's interesting. One of the other things, they don't want keyless entry on the pools, and this is the reason I think the villages, I don't know if they really push back, but they dissuade people, is the contractors, the people that come into the villages, the people that mow your lawn, the people that install garage door openers, the people that power wash your driveway, your home. Those are contractors. The villages is full of contractors. Every day you see hundreds of contractors in your community. Those contractors, they use the bathrooms at your community swimming pool. And if they have keyless entry, or if they have locks on the swimming pool, those contractors can no longer use the bathrooms in the swimming pool. And you're going to have a revolt of contractors. I think that's the biggest reason why they don't want to lock the doors on the swimming pools, is because the contractors are using the bathrooms. And there are thousands and thousands of contractors that are in the villages every day. So if they lock the swimming pool, the contractors can no longer use the bathroom. What's going to happen? They're going to have to drive outside the villages. They're probably not. They're probably going to walk down to the local swamp and they're going to relieve themselves. It could turn into a nightmare. it could be bad. I think that's one of the reasons the Villages is hesitant to lock the pools, is because they serve as facilities for the contractors to use. Is the traffic in the Villages really that bad? Visited the Villages 3 times before Los Angeles and didn't feel it. Well, if you're used to Los Angeles, it's nothing like Los Angeles. I think the people that complain about the traffic are the locals that are there full time, like me. I'm there year round. And during the summertime, there's no traffic, no wait lines. You don't have to wait long at the traffic signals. And during snowbird season, then the traffic comes, and there are certain areas in the Villages where the traffic gets backed up at the traffic signal. For instance, on the corner of 466 and Buena Vista Boulevard, there's a traffic signal. The traffic gets backed up really much right there. There's a spot in the southern part of the Villages where the new Walmart is going that gets backed up. That's State Road 44, I think. That gets backed up. I think that's right in this area here where the new Walmart is going. Where, yeah, this is the Villages grown. You can see the map, right? Yeah, you can see the map. So this is the Villages grown right here. This is Morse Boulevard, and this is 44 right here. This intersection has a stoplight, and that traffic gets backed up here, and I see news articles periodically. Villagers are complaining. Because I don't live down there, I really don't know if it's that bad or not. But it's getting worse. You won't recognize Oak Hollow. Yeah, I'm sure I won't. I want to get back there and do some videos in the South. I won't even recognize the South. They are building, and the homes on the map, I think most of the homes they are going to sell are not even on the map yet. And that's kind of what the video I released this morning is. All these homes are built already in this area. All of these Well Point and Oak Hollow homes, they're all built and ready to be sold. It's just that this market is soft. The Villages wants to sell off these homes down in Eastport. And they got a ton of homes in Shady Brook and Water's Edge they want to sell off before they start listing these homes in Oak Hollow and in Well Point, because I think the Villages are itching to get these homes in this area released and this area released. The Villages has this neighborhood here in green. These are already homes that are built, ready to be sold. They don't even have them on the map yet. I think the Villages has a lot of inventory that we don't even know about. They're not even on the map. So they're discounting the homes down in Well Point. That was the point of the video I released this morning. Is I think the Villages has a lot of homes ready to be sold, not even listed. They have green areas. I think there's homes in this area. There's homes in this green patch. There's homes in this green patch. And they're not even on the map yet. I think the homes are built and ready to be sold, but the sales are soft, I think. And you got homes in Well Point, and you got homes in, homes in Water's Edge, Shady Brook. You got a couple of stragglers up in Well Point near the Street of Dreams. They're trying to get those sold off, and then they're going to sell these neighborhoods. They're going to open them up like a floodgate. They're going to open these neighborhoods up, and then they're going into Edenfield. They're going to start building there, then LaGrange. And then I think they're going to start moving in this area or this area. Wow. That Eastport Town Square is going to be serving a lot of people. And that town square is smaller than your other town squares. It looks huge when you're standing on the ground, but when you're looking at the map, this town square is not that big. You only got a few buildings here. All these gray areas are parking lots. you don't have that many buildings. And then one of the biggest buildings is the Olympia Rec Center. It's very interesting that they have the amenities adjacent to the town square. This is interesting. This is a new concept. You got pickleball, you got tennis, you got a swimming pool. I think that's a swimming pool. Is that a swimming pool? I don't know what that is. I think it is. Or is that a retention pond? Anyway, I think this town square is going to be busy, busy, busy. And the vibe is going to be long wait lines. That's just my guess. And it's going to take a while to open this stuff up. Anyway, what time is it? How long have I been on the live stream? 56 minutes on the live stream today. So anybody have any other questions? Share this tab instead. I'm sharing that tab. When will I be back? I don't recognize Ocala. When will I be back? Either September or March. I haven't decided yet. September or March. It is a retention pond. It's just outside the Olympia. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's the swimming pool at the Olympia. Is that going to be, does anybody know, is that pool going to be a sports pool or is it going to be a family pool? What kind of pool? I'm assuming it's going to be a sports pool. Sports pool, that's where you're going to have your activity like water aerobics classes, things like that, water volleyball. I assume it's going to be a sports pool. It's not a pool that you're going to be able, it's not going to be like your local pool that you can go in and just float around. I think that's going to be a sports pool. Yeah, sports pool makes sense. So that pool you're going to go to, like I rarely go to my sports pool up at Laurel Manor Rec Center up on 466. Once in a while I'll go there for water aerobics class, but that's it. I rarely use the sports pool. I know there's people that use it for water volleyball, things like that. Let me know in the comments who all uses their sports pool. If you've been in the villages for a while, do you use your sports pool and what do you use it for? I rarely use our sports pool. Once in a while, if I got a hankering, I'll go to a water aerobics class. That's about it. But I usually go to the gym, which is at Laurel Manor, the indoor gym, so then I don't need water aerobics. So I don't know. I don't find the sports pools to be that useful for me, but there are a lot of people that use it. Every time I drive past, there's always somebody in that pool. A lot of times I drive past it and that pool is empty or only has a couple of people in it. So I'm not sure what use these sports pools really are, if they are if they're bringing the value that you're paying for. Let me know in the comments what you think. That'd be interesting to know. Interested to know what you think of the sports pool concept. So that is that. What else is going on? They still have some houses for sale here in Water's Edge. Interesting. These homes are not discounted. They've been on the market for a long time, but this home on Central Parkway is discounted. This Kingfisher is discounted. These other three are not. That's discounted because it's backing up to Central Parkway. But down in this neighborhood, which I think is the best neighborhood near the Eastport Town Square, you've got homes discounted. Bam, you've got this Dove discounted. You've got another Sycamore discounted. Another Dove discounted. I think this is like the best neighborhood you can buy into if you're looking for a designer home. And why does nobody like the Dove? I see a lot of Dove models discounted. Nobody likes the Dove. What's the deal? Why doesn't anybody like the Dove? I heard they are 90. Yeah, the pool temperatures are hot. You want to talk about pool temperatures? I'm an expert at the pool. When I'm there, I'm in the pool every day. I go to the pool every day, except in probably January and February when it's too cold. And even with the pools heated, once you get used to the hot water temperatures, you don't want to go into a pool that's heated to 82 degrees, 81 degrees. And that's what they are. They're heated somewhere between 80 and 85 is what the official is what the villages say. They are heated to 80, 85. It's closer to 80. And when you're used to water temperatures, 92 degrees, I was in the Tall Tree swimming pool on a hot summer day. There was a woman in the swimming pool that had a little rubber ducky floating on the water. I asked her why she has a rubber ducky. She said it's a thermometer. I said, what's the water temperature? She said it was 92 degrees. That is warm in a swimming pool. 92 degrees Fahrenheit is warm. And once you're used to that and you're swimming in that all summer long, and January rolls around and the water temperature is now 80, 81 degrees, you can't go in the pool. you just can't. But the water is super hot. It's not refreshing. In July and August, that water temperature isn't even refreshing. Normally you go in the pool to kind of cool down, refresh yourself. July, August, September, you can't refresh yourself. You just get wet. It gets hot. The water temperatures are warmer than 90 degrees at times. That is true. The water temperature is warm in the villages in June, July, actually in more like end of June. July and August is really September. I always thought that July was warmer than August in the villages. And in Wisconsin, August is always warmer than July, but in the villages, it seems like July is warmer than August. Either way, you're splitting frogs' hairs. It's hot in the villages, and I cannot. That's why I keep stressing buy a lanai that's facing north or east, because you cannot sit in your lanai in the summertime if it's facing west or south. You just cannot sit in that lanai. And I get people pushing back in the comments. Oh, it doesn't matter. Your lanai facing south. It's okay. It's not okay. Homes will sell faster. Resale homes sell faster when the lanai is facing north and east. I got countless realtors, MLS realtors telling me that the homes will sell faster if your lanai is facing north or east. That's just a fact. So touring these homes, you have these homes discounted. What we have here are more homes. These are in Water's Edge, discounted Dove C, Oriole C. That's the other home that seems to sit on the market forever, is the Dove and the Oriole and the Kingfisher. So why are the Dove models sitting forever? That's the question I have. So here's your Dove. It has a 2-car garage with a golf cart, 429. 232V is the. Why don't nobody like the Dove? So you're entering, and then off to the right, you're seeing a bedroom 2 and a bathroom. That's kind of wonky. It's kind of wonky that your guest bedroom is in an area that the bedroom 2 is in, because if you're in bedroom 3, you come out, you're traipsing through this hallway, through the laundry, and then you're opening this door, and you feel like you're invading somebody's privacy in bedroom 2, and then you're walking into the bathroom. This looks like it's a sliding pocket door. So maybe nobody likes the Dove because it's got a wonky layout. Because bedroom 2 and 3, tell me why nobody likes the Dove. Lanai is huge in the Dove. Here, primary suite. What's wrong with the primary suite? 18 by 13. It's not that big, not that small. Walk-in closet, not that big, not that small. Has a separate commode space. Let's look at pictures of the dove. Why nobody likes the dove? Nobody's sharing love for the dove. Did you buy a new? I bought pre-owned. I bought pre-owned. I was looking at a new home. I was actually looking at the Seabreeze model. I brought you the video the other day of a new Seabreeze. I was looking at a new Seabreeze cottage home in the village of uh, I think it was Chitty Chat. No, not Chitty. St. Catherine. I was looking at that. St. Catherine was just being built at the time. I was looking at a Seabreeze. I like the Seabreeze model, but I could not get over the fact that I was so far away from everything. I was too far away from Brownwood. I was too far away from Publix. I was too far away from a gas station, living in St. Catherine at the time. Sawgrass Grove wasn't built at the time, and I just couldn't wrap my head around being too far away. I wanted to take my golf cart everywhere. So when I was looking at new homes, they were building Chitty Chat, the village of Chitty Chatty, Bradford, St. Catherine. That was the time frame, and there wasn't anything nearby. I just felt like I was in the middle of nowhere, and the power wires down in the St. Catherine area just turned me off. The power wires down there are huge; they're immense. So when I took all those things together, I decided to buy a pre-owned home up in District Number 5 near 466 because I just wanted the convenience of shopping. I didn't want to do all my shopping in the Villages bubble. And when you are living in those areas in the South, you are compelled to do most of your shopping inside the bubble, and the prices are higher inside the bubble. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do most of my shopping outside the bubble. That was my requirement because the prices are cheaper at restaurants outside the bubble. And County Road 466 I could get to on my golf cart outside the bubble. That was the primary reason I didn't buy a new home, is because anytime you buy a new home, you're almost compelled and forced to do most of your shopping inside the bubble, and the prices are higher there. And the prices are going to be much more higher in the South down in Eastport when you're in the bubble. I noticed that even at at the sports bar down there, what's it called? I went to eat there. The hamburgers were a buck or two higher there. The happy hours are shorter. The drink prices are higher at the sports bar down near Water's Edge. I forgot what it's called. So I just felt like I was a captive. I was going to be part of a captive audience. If I bought a new home, I'm now in this captive audience where I'm doing most of my shopping inside the bubble. If I want to do a golf cart, and if I want to go shopping outside the bubble, I have to get in my car. I didn't want to do that. That's the reason I bought pre-owned in District 5. A little bit south of County Road 466. I'm a 5-minute golf cart ride to Walmart, to Costco, to Olive Garden, to Kentucky Fried Chicken. There is, what else is up there? To Publix grocery store. And I can get there within 5 minutes on a golf cart, and I can do most of my shopping outside the bubble. That's the reason I didn't buy a new home. Patio villas aren't selling. The bigger ones are. The Moonstones, the Emeralds, they're selling. They're selling a little slower than normal, but they are selling. The smaller models are not selling. Like here, this is the village of Shady Brook. This is the Alden Villas, I believe. And the only patio villas you're seeing for sale in the Alden, I think it's Alden. What's it called? What are these called? I have my little cheat sheet note list. I'm forgetting my names. Amanda. These are the Amanda Villa neighborhood. This is Amanda right here. And you only see the small ones for sale. You see the Nest. You see the Havens. You have a Retreat. Those are the small. Those are the 900 square foot homes. All the other patio villas here are sold. If you go over to the Joy patio villas in Water's Edge, right up here, I thought there were some for sale in the Joy. They're now all sold. There just yesterday there were some for sale. So now the Joy villas are all sold out. As of yesterday, I think there was one small home left. But last week, if you look back at a video, you'll see 3 or 4 small patio villas, the 900 square foot ones. Here you have the Addison patio villas, all the larger ones, the Moonstones right there, the Emeralds, they're all sold. Even in this less than desirable location along Central Parkway, they're all sold. All the big ones. The small ones, Havens, Retreats, Havens, Retreats, Havens, Retreats. Those aren't selling. People don't want that small 900 square foot. It's just like the Isabella Garden Villas. All the big ones are sold. Isabella Garden Villas. Here you go. The big square footage ones are sold. The small ones are still for sale. Here you got the Botanical. That's a small one. Botanical. All the small ones. Serenity. That is a smaller model. That is not sold. Botanicals. All the bigger ones, which are the Oasis and the Tranquility models, they're all sold. Serenity, that's a small model. They're still on the market. You can get a good deal on a Botanical, $399.5. This one's furnished. That's why it's $419. So the bigger patio villas are selling. I think they're selling a little bit slower. Look at this neighborhood. This is the Tim Villas. I like to think that the villages named this neighborhood after one of their biggest YouTube thorns in their side, Mr. Tim of Streams and Dreams. But you can see that this neighborhood is not selling. Not selling at all. And you know why it's not selling? It's not selling because of location. I think it's going to take a while for these homes. People don't want to live next to Marsh Bend Trail. People don't want to live next to this power substation. And all the other things that are in the area that we're not going to mention. That's why these homes aren't selling. The Villages is going to have a hard time selling even these designer homes. That's why they're discounting the homes in Water's Edge and Shady Brook. They're trying to get rid of those. So people are essentially forced to buy these homes here in Well Point and Shady and Oak Hollow. They're up against Marsh Bend Trail. It's all part of their marketing strategy. And then all of a sudden one day you're going to see a ton of homes listed for sale in this neighborhood, desirable neighborhood, not near the roads, closer to the Eastport Town Square. These homes are going to be listed. You're going to see dots all over this map, but you're not going to see those dots until these homes are mostly sold out. And you can see these homes have been listed and they're sitting a while. These are designer homes next to the Isabella Villas. You can even see the cottage homes. Slow. Sales are slower. I think it's due to location though, for sure. What is this? Bed 3 is an in-suite. Nothing wrong with the Dove. They just make a ton of them, and sometimes they end up in wonky lot location. Everything with the real estate is location. Sue Lane, you're welcome. The patio villas with the wrought iron fences? What? What do you mean the patio villas with the wrought iron fences aren't selling? What patio villas have wrought iron fences? You think there's patio villas here in the Tim Villa neighborhood that have wrought iron fences? Not sure what you're talking about there. I'm looking at these pictures for a wrought iron fence. Are in the front of the home or the back of the home? I'm not seeing wrought iron fences on these pictures. Here is a plastic fence on this topaz. That's very customary. That's what they put in. That's what they've been putting in patio villas for years, is this plastic fence. No idea what you're talking about. Wrought iron fences. Uh, the only wrought iron fences I see are in the backyards of the veranda homes and the courtyard villas for the view lots. Other than that, I don't recall seeing wrought iron fences. And those fences, I don't think are wrought iron. I think they are either steel or aluminum. They almost felt aluminum. They felt really light when I touched those steel fences on those veranda homes and those courtyard villas in the backyards. They were really light, so I didn't think they were steel. I'm not sure what they are. They almost felt aluminum to me. I don't see wrought iron fences on any of these patio villas. Friend, here's a plastic fence. None. I see no wrought iron fences here. Looking for a fence. Here's another plastic fence. But these are typical. This right here is your classic colony patio villa right here with the white picket fence. They've been building these homes for 30 years. Oh, the Isabella. Okay, those are garden villas. Those are actually courtyard villas. The Isabella garden villas, those are actually considered to be a courtyard villa. And they are considered to be a garden villa. And that is a new concept. The larger models, the Tranquility and the Oasis model, they have around 1,900 square foot. Those sold. They're all sold. Those sold relatively quickly. It's the smaller models that have around 1,500 square feet, like the Serenities and the Botanicals. They're not selling. And even the Serenity, there's only 2 Serenities left in the entire neighborhood. All of these other ones are Botanicals. And the reason the Botanicals aren't selling is because you have to exit the home to get into the garage. And I'll show you. This is a botanical right here. So here. So you enter the home and you're going into the home right here. You turn right to go in the garage. You turn left to go into the home, I guess. Right there is your patio. So this is, what is this? This is a botanical. Oh, this is a Serenity. What am I doing? So the botanicals are not selling. Oh, here we go. Let's look at the botanical. The botanicals aren't selling because you have to exit the home to get into the garage. That's why it's not selling. And I'll show you what that is. Show me a picture. It's not gonna. So here is your garden view. And all this is a courtyard villa. And they put a little patch of grass there. So this is your kitchen door, and you're standing in the doorway to enter your garage, and you're looking back at your kitchen door. So if you wanted to get from the inside of your home to your garage, you're going to have to walk around through this door, through this garden, through this patio area, and into your garage. So you're exiting the home, and people don't like that. Not sure why. People are buying homes with laundries in the garage in the north, and they have no problem. All of a sudden, they build this botanical where you have to exit the home to get into the garage, and people are freaking out, which makes no sense to me. I guess it's the change of time. So here you're standing in your kitchen looking back into your garage, I believe. Yes. Yeah, that's your garage. So you basically have to walk, what, 15 feet from your living room or from your kitchen area into your garage. And people aren't buying that home because of that. So that is the botanical. That's the reason. And most of these homes, I think there's only like 2 Serenities for sale. The only homes that aren't selling are the botanicals. Botanical, 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 botanical. What is this? Yes. Garden villas have the metal fences. Yes. Yes, the garden villas. Staring at the side of another house. Yeah, well, that's what your patio villas are. That's what your courtyard villas are. You buy a patio villa or a courtyard villa or a garden villa, that's what you're doing. You're staring at the side of somebody's house. Yeah, the screened-in lanais, I heard that too. That's another reason. There's no screened-in lanai. Well, is there? I thought there was. I thought there was. Wasn't there? Let's look at this Serenity. Serenity. I thought there was a screened-in lanai on this Serenity. That's your garden. I thought some of these had a lanai in the back that was screened in. Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, why am I doing this? Why don't they just go to the floor plan? So the Serenity has no screened in lanai. True. Here's your lanai, but it's not screened in. And I did hear that. That's another reason. That's a Serenity, no screened in. So let's look at a botanical. Here's a botanical floor plan. How much time am I been spending on this? Hour and 22 minutes. No idea why this isn't coming up. There's your botanical. So here, this is botanical. Is it really? This doesn't look right. This ain't right, is it? Oh, here. So here is the garage door. Here's your foyer. And you have to walk through this area here. But this is, okay. Yeah, there's no screen-in lanai. So that's the other reason. But did the Oasis model have a screened-in lanai? Did the bigger models have screened-in lanais? Those sold. That's interesting. Let's look at the Oasis Garden Villa, the villages. The Oasis model. Show me the floor plan. Oh yeah, the Oasis did. So if I share this screen, you look at the Oasis Garden Villa. So here's the floor plan of the Oasis, and it has a 15 by 9 lanai, and I believe that is screened in. So the Oasis is a larger square foot home, garden villa. It does have a screened-in lanai, and those Oasis and Tranquilities sold. Right, here's the Tranquility. That's another larger square foot. So maybe it's not due to the square footage. Maybe it's due to lanai. Oh, this one doesn't have a screened-in lanai, I don't think. Why can't I? Why can't I? Where is the Tranquility? Golf cart garage. So the Tranquility does not have a screened-in lanai, but the Oasis did, and the Tranquility sold, but they probably built fewer of them, so it's hard to tell. Share this tab instead. So I agree that part of the reasons they're not selling is the screened-in lanais. And I spoke to a realtor 5 years ago when I was looking at homes in the villages. She told me most Floridians don't use their lanais. She said it doesn't even pay to build a lanai. Just build a Florida room. A Florida room is essentially a walled-in lanai that's air-conned, has air conditioning, and it has windows where the screens would be. It would be all windows. She said most Floridians don't use lanais because it's just too hot to sit outside in Florida. And I tend to agree with her. The only time you can really use a lanai is at night when it's dark out and when it gets cooler. That's the only time you use a lanai in Florida. Because in summer, even if it's shaded, even if it's north or west, I mean, if it's north or east facing, it's still too hot to sit outside. It's just too hot to sit outside and enjoy yourself. So the only time you really use a lanai is at night. So does it even pay to have a lanai? Just wall it in, put windows in, and put air conditioning in. I know a lot of people who are converting their patio villas, their lanais in the patio villa, they are converting them. They're putting windows in the lanai, and they're putting heat ducts in the ceiling because it's actually fairly easy to do. You can, because your heat exchanger is located right next to your lanai in a patio villa, they're just punching a hole in the ceiling and they're running a duct over to the heat exchanger, and they're air conditioning their lanai, and they're putting windows in. I think that's actually a smart thing to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another reason. Because you can't sneeze without your neighbor hearing you because you're so close to your neighbors. It's another reason. There isn't a day when I sit in my lanai and I can't smell my neighbor smoking his cigar. Everybody seems to smoke cigars in their lanais in the villages. I think lanais are highly overrated. I really do. And I think there is a good argument to be made to convert your lanai to a Florida room. There really is. Because the native Floridians, they don't use lanais. They use Florida rooms. They don't sit outside. It's too hot. Yes, that's correct. That's why people have lanais. That's why the Northerners, I want my lanai. Because I was looking at buying a pre-owned patio villa 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in Marsh Bend, the village of Marsh Bend. And they converted their lanai to a Florida room. I said, I don't want that. I want a lanai. I want to sit outside. And the realtor said, who was a native Floridian, by the way, she said, us Floridians, we don't believe in lanai. We don't like lanais. We don't use lanais. It's too hot. And I got to thinking, maybe she's right. And then I moved to Florida. I bought a patio villa with a screen-in lanai. I rarely use my lanai. In fact, I never use it. I got furniture out there. I got a TV out there. I don't use it. I sit inside where the air conditioning is. I'm just telling you, people, the lanais are highly overrated. They really are. Okay, that's awesome. Walton, well, welcome to the villages. There are stories like that. If you read the villages news often enough, you will hear stories about people doing all kinds of cooking in their homes in the villages. But anyway, the lanais are really close together. You do hear your neighbors. It's really super hot in Florida. So just be wise with your lanai. That's why I'm telling you, buy a north facing one, buy an east facing one. So if you want a chance to use your lanai, you're going to have the greatest chance of using it if it is north facing or east facing. And let me know in the chat box below, if you live in the villages, do you use your lanai? How often do you use your lanai? What direction does your lanai face? Did you convert your lanai to a Florida room that's temperature controlled? And when I was doing open house videos, pre-owned homes, I see a lot of people who converted their lanais to Florida rooms. A lot of those pre-owned homes, those individuals converted their lanai. They bought their home. Usually it was a new home they bought, and after 5 or 10 years, they got sick of the lanai and they put windows in it. They put uh, uh, air conditioning duct in that lanai, and they converted to a Florida room. Lots and lots. I've seen a lot of them. A lot of people are doing that. So the initial joy of owning a lanai wears off after a few years. After you discover you move to Florida and it's too hot to sit in your lanai. But there are certain times of the year it is nice, you know, September, October, November, probably really nice to sit in your lanai. December rolls around, January gets a little too cold to sit in your lanai unless you want to sit there with a coat on. Yeah, keep your relative. I know people who grow plants in their lanai. It's an excellent greenhouse. Excellent. There are a lot of people, they don't use their lanai other than a greenhouse. They put their plants out there because when they start growing plants, you don't want too much sun for those plants. You put your plants in your lanai, they grow like weeds. Occasionally, you put your plant out to catch some sun. You put it back in the lanai. The lanais are great greenhouses, good storage areas. Oh my God. Well, I've been rambling for an hour and a half. I think everybody's sick and tired of watching me and listening to me. So you answer any questions. Your last chance. This is your last call for questions. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box. Otherwise, I will end the live shortly. I'll continue to make awesome, wonderful videos for you. Point out weird things that I see about the villages. Point out good things that I see. Larger crowds? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Walton Groggins. I appreciate you stopping by and blessing us with your presence. Walton Groggins. Everybody applaud Walton Groggins. That's it for today. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Ring the bell icon for notifications. Share the videos with your friends and enemies, preferably your enemies. Let me know if you have more friends than enemies. I would like to know that. All right, take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.